Oh man. And so, so we're learning Torah Daled in the second Likutey Moharan. We learned that through the tzedakah, the koch of tzedakah is so big that through the koch of tzedakah it is possible that a person will not do any melacha, doesn't have to do any ishtadlus at all, and the situation will be the way it's going to be in Losid Lovai, that all the ishtadlus needs to be done for the sake of the service of Deltasa will be done by the Umas Oilam and Tanina Dalit, yes. We are holding by Seif Hey, but I'm just a little synopsis. And so Enochinami right now, being that we're not worthy to have the Shefa come down unimpeded. So now the Shefa comes down with the shtadlus. There is the minimal situation where a person has to make ishtadlus, and as long as doing the ishtadlus be'emunah, he works, he gets. If a person is of a higher madrega, then he has to do less ishtadlus. The less ishtadlus, the higher madrega you are, the more your emunah is, the less ishtadlus you have to do. The tzedakah has a koch.
Someone built their level of the hishtadlus was to get to that level with the emunah, right?
Yeah. Lemaisa is the day that it's done is through the year. That's what we learned. But what I'm saying is that because Lemaisa, whenever we're talking about shpah, I apologize for the frog in my throat. Whenever it is that you have a whenever there's a shefa milamala, if you're talking about shefa eloki to chafalef, or we're talking about the chesed here, there's always two things that need to be done. You have to have the keli with which to receive the shefa, and you have to excite and incite the shefa eloki, the heavenly influx to come down, the plenty to come down milamala. So the tzedakah has a koyach to do that, to bring about the shefa from above. Nevertheless, what needs to be done, you have to create a keli, and because you have to receive the chesed gradually. Because anybody that receives the chesed, without a proper constriction and gradation, graduation is the word, gradation, whatever you want to call it. The chesed becomes a tsunami. The chesed becomes something that drowns a person. So what needs to be done is you have to make a keli, you have to make a tzinor, and the keli and the tzinor is the yira. This is the thing that does it. The yira, it engraves a tzinor. In itself, we have to understand what it is. What is it engraves at? Because usually, if you're saying engraving usually means that you engrave out of different media. So I'm not sure what this is about. Nevertheless, even though avodah sabara, the status that we do is avodah sabara, because all the melachas that we do they stem from the 39 Melachos HaMishkan. And the 39 Melachos HaMishkan, they stem from aspirations. When a person does Masamatan Be'emuna, is the Maisa energizing the Maisa Bereshis. So tremendous Avodas Hashem. But nevertheless, if we have Rov Chastoi, if the Chesed wouldn't be impeded, then we would get the Shefa. The Goyim would do the Shefa for us. It says so now. Okay, so what makes the Yira? What is the thing that creates the Yira? So Rabbeinu says here in Siman Hey, the Sifei, the Ikar Yira, Na'asav dis Galus Haratzon. The Yira is the something that happens when you realize that Hashem is running the show. There's no Derech HaTeva. Hashem is calling the shots. The fact that there is a usual way that can be computed and understood and studied, whatever it is, the way one runs. It's not because Chas v'Chalila it's a law that cannot be changed. Only a law cannot be changed, but it's an active willing by Kodesh Baruch Hu that this particular conduct will continue. The gravitation will work, and we are walking on the earth, and we're not falling off. And everything is because the Kodesh Baruch Hu wants it to be this way. We said that Beno says there is what they call lower miracles and higher miracles. The lower miracles are the derech hateva, the way that the world conducts. Everything is miraculous. We take a look at the way the world runs, affecting. Not even talking about the fact that there are people. B'chlal is anything. It's a total miracle that happens all the time, again and again and again. They're making all kinds of cheshboning, with Einstein, with the speed of light, and say, the closer speed of light, that the time slows, and this and that. But when you come to think of it, Rabbeinu speaks about it. Rabbeinu says in a different manner. Rabbeinu says that the Eichal Aponoi. So how can the world even exist? Because it has to be Eichal Aponoi, where Kodesh Baruch Hu, quote unquote, isn't. But on the other hand, nothing is without Kodesh Baruch Hu. So you have to say two opposite things. Kodesh Baruch Hu is there, he's not there. So it's an inner contradiction that cannot be understood. Even time itself, when you think a little bit about this Ian of time has to be something that things take place during that time, right? But when you kind of think of time, is when does time take place? In the present, right? The actual.
Not in the future, not in the past.
Not in the future, not in the past. The past is no longer. The future is not yet. The only thing you have to stand on is the present. How long does the present take? None. Right?
Once it happens, it's over.
Yeah. I mean, present is just the place where the not yet meets the no longer. Right? In between them, now the present in many ways is even less quote unquote real than the past or the future. Because the past, okay, this is what it was. You can write, this is what happened. Write history books, whatever you want. The future, everybody tells you who's going to win, who's going to lose, what's going to happen. The economy is going to go up, going to go. Projections, you have astrology.
The sun will explode.
Yeah, the whole thing. About the future, you can have, but the present, there's nothing you can do about the present. There's no time at the present. And the Chassam Sofer said, Also, over ayin, the past is gone. Osid, adayin, it's not yet, V'ahoive ayin, and the present is not existent. So he says, we can't de'agaminayin. So where does the worry come from? What are you worried about? Something that is no longer, something that is not yet, something that doesn't exist. Anyhow, so the whole thing is a miracle, from beginning to end. But this is called lower miracles because we're used to it. But then we also have Nisin Elohim. This is the upper miracle, the supernal miracles. This is where the Derech HaTeva gets broken altogether. Kriyas Yamsuf, the Esamakas, the Yeshua making the sun stand for, I don't know, 24 hours, whatever it was.
Daniel in the line
That I'm saying, but the line is one thing, and there's the stones that Hashem brought down on the Knaanim during the war of Yeshua. Malcharin was half of these stones was in the Barad, Makas Barad in Egypt. Half came down. It says that from these stones, the other half, or whatever it is that's left, is going to be Hashem coming down in the future. Anyhow, so what brings about a yira? The person is afraid of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's Galus Aratzin, when it's revealed that the world is completely controlled and managed by HaKadosh Baruch Hu. As I heard one guy from America, he said, people say, a small world, So he said, the world is not small, just well run. It's managed well. It's not small. It's Galasar, Ritzon Yaseh. So when you say Ritzon Yaseh, what are you reading here? Because Baruch Hu is doing the will of those who fear him. When Rabbeinu explains it, is Merames, Ritzon Yaseh means when the Ratzon of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, when you realize that everything happens in the Ratzon of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, then Yerav Yaseh, this is making the Yira. And then Galusaraso Nasa Yira. I know, the Rebbeinu explains, Avdeshin is Galish HaKol Misnoeg B'Ratzon Es Baruch. When it is revealed that everything runs on Ratzon. Luis Baruch, Baruch HaKol B'Ratzon, HaKadosh Baruch Hu created everything, completely on his own volition. That's the way he wanted it. Bli Shum Chiyuv Klal. There was nothing forced the Kadosh Baruch Hu to do anything to create the world. Not create the world. Kadosh Baruch Hu created it totally on his own volition. Kadosh Baruch Hu gives vitality and sustenance to his creation. The Ratzon Kadosh Baruch Hu does it all. And Shum Chiyuv Ativi Klal. And there is no, situation where it has to exist. There's no chiyuv teva. And when you realize that, this is the thing that creates a year. The effect is year. Why? Because then there's a situation of schava onesh. Then there's negeya to have yira from a Kadosh Baruch Hu. Because in the natural world, quote unquote, there's no quote unquote law of nature that science has ever discovered. If a person does chas v'chalila something, does any kind of neveira chas v'chalila, that al piteva naturally he should get an honor, he should get a punishment. No such thing. You don't learn in the universities. They try to teach you exactly the opposite. It's only when you realize that there is no teva, there is no nature, there is not oilim kiminogonoyik. The world just runs the way it always will, always did, and always will, and whatever it is, they believe it. When you realize the Kadosh Baruch Hu is the one who runs the world, the Shaykh Yira, then Schava Oidish. Then you're afraid. Kadosh Baruch Hu runs the world. If I do what the Kadosh Baruch Hu tells me, there's Char, because the don't look at Kadosh Baruch Hu tells me Chas v'Chalila, then there's Chas v'Chalila Efech Shemirach. As Chazal said, Masechet Brachos, Yaakov Avinu was worried. When Esav came to him, he came to Eretz Yisrael, and he says, they told him, that Esav is coming towards you with 400 people with him. He says, Vayira Yaakov Moed. Yaakov had a great yira. He was very much afraid. What was he afraid of? Because Baruch already promised him that he will guard him. Because Baruch Hu told him, right? When he went to Lavan, when he slept and had the dream of the Sulam, Kadosh Baruch Hu said, I'm going to take care of him, I'm going to guard you. So why is he afraid? So the Gemara says, Shemei go machet. Maybe in the meantime, I've sinned, and even though Kadosh Baruch Hu promised me, yes, but nevertheless, when there's chet chas v'chalila, there's oidesh shemirach. So the yira comes when a person is afraid of the punishment on sins. This is where the yira comes. When you realize the realness that of the control the Kodesh Baruch Hu has in the world, the Kodesh Baruch Hu is not just a slogan or some kind of Kodesh Baruch Hu runs the world. Then there's afraid. But when the rotzen, with the fact that the realization that the world is running constantly, is controlled by Kodesh Baruch Hu, there's masgiach on everything. If this is hidden, then it's not shy. You say, listen, this is natural. They explain, they want to say, Chris Yamson is saying there was the wind, there was this, there was that, all kinds of teruts and trying to explain what derech hateva. Why? So they don't have to face the reality of schava of punishment and reward. As if everything runs according to nature, according to the laws of nature. If when a person is that state of mind, you're a cloud. What is to be afraid of? Will be an earthquake. I don't know, not many earthquakes. Whatever, just what? Yeah. Okay. So so you say the crux of yira is created when the will of HaKadosh Baruch Hu is being revealed. Okay, so what reveals the will of HaKadosh Baruch Hu? I mean, we live in a world where we're basically moving through, to a large extent, blind as bats. We don't realize. It's mechavona, of course, because it's for bechira. Otherwise, there would be no bechira. The isgalos harotzon is something that takes a lot of work. The natural disposition of the world is that, what do you see? You see nature, you walk on nobody is yet to fall off the earth and fly up. So we're not worried about that, so we take it for granted. This is the natural situation, so it should be a bechira. Isgalos harotzon, the revelation of the Ratzon Hashem Yisbarach. Well, the Yom Tovim. The Yom Tovim, Pesach, Shavuos, and Sukkot, these Yom Tovim, they are dynamos of Ratzon. Kikol Echad Mayom Tovim, each one of the Yom Tovim, Machriz v'Koyer Megalas HaRatzon. It announces and it calls out the fact that the world behaves solely according to the way HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants, all the time. Everything behaves according to the way HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants it. B'fchinas, what it says about the Yom Tov, Mikra Kodesh. Every Yom Tov we say in the Torah, Mikra Kodesh. What is Mikra Kodesh? What's the name? Mikra Kodesh. And when it says, Shayom Tov Kodesh, the holiness of the Yom Tov, Koira Umachrizat HaRatzon. It calls out, it announces the will, the independent will of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Every single Yom Tov that we have, Asa Hashem is Baruch Imanu Oisus Nerais. HaKadosh Baruch Hu did with us. I mean, awesome and horrendous, tremendous nisim. It's the opposite of nature. So when there is such a revelation, when you have an oasis, which is a nisa eloi, this is a supernal miracle, where the way that the world usually runs is broken suddenly. So we see a flash that everything is run, that's run by Kodesh Baruch Hu. That reveals the Ratzon. That means the will of Kodesh Baruch Hu. That everything is according to Kodesh Baruch Hu's will. Then shum chiyuv teva klal. Nature does not run the show. Kodesh Baruch Hu runs the show through, in a mode of nature. That it repeats itself. You can be soymech on it, you can rely on it, you make plans according to it. When you wake up tomorrow, you go to Yerushalayim, what bus you're going to take, how long it's going to take you, you're going to go through rush hour, not rush hour, whatever it is, eat what's good for you, don't eat what's not good for you, whatever, because Baruch Hu told us, listen, he's running the show in a way that repeats itself, so you're able to design your life, to plan, how.
It's a stable reality that you can count on.
That's right. So, but nevertheless, within it, everybody that has eyes realizes that within that stable reality that you can count on, everything that you cannot count on is running on. This one becomes rich. This one, with this, and this happens. You never know from day to day. Usually, they say the Rabban Gamliel told his daughter when she got married, gave her a bracha, and told her, Al yichle oy mi beisach. May there never cease, ouch, oy, from your house. Oy this, and oy this, and oy this. That's the bracha he gives his daughter. So I heard an explanation is that when you have many worries, when a person have many worries, it means that everything is normal. When chas v'chalila there is a serious, big time calamity lo aleinu, everything disappears. You don't remember, that you're supposed to pay the electric bill, you don't have money or whatever it is. Everything is focused on this particular thing. In other words, there's no many worries. There's just one thing that you're worried about. Everything else is just, takes second place. Whatever it is doesn't make a difference. Yes. To give a bracha that you have, the child broke this, and this one this, and this got soured. The milk got soured, and this. When you have many, many oys, means things are good. That's right. So that's what he told us. So you see that within reality, which is stable, which you can count on, there are all kinds of, when you actually look at it, you can see that everything is run by Kodesh Baruch Hu nonstop. But Yom Tovim, there's all the macro, boom. So he says that Shem Epech HaTeva is also a Kol B'Yitzodah, the end Shem HaTeva, the Pesach. Pesach Yitzias Mitzrayim. Because Baruch Hu Mitzrayim, Ba'osis Neiras, because Baruch Hu took us out of Mitzrayim in tremendous miracles. Shavuos is Matan Torah. The entire world shook to its foundation. Shanosan Matan Torah Ba'osis Neiras, again, because Baruch Hu gave us the Torahs with unbelievable miracles. Besukis, we're surrounded, with the clouds of glory. We were basically traveling in the desert, with a train of luxury. We were air conditioned in the desert. All the clothing were cleaned and pressed and dry cleaning every day. A baby was born with, was put in clothes. The clothes grew together with him. Never were off. Nobody ever got any kind of blister on their feet. They walked the whole day, nothing, no problem. They had one cloud underneath, straightened out all the valleys, flattened out all the mountains. Everything was, and it's out all the time. There were sukkahs. Malken called Yom Tov, every single Yom Tov Machus v'Koret Harotzim. It calls out and announces Kadosh Baruch Hu is running the show. The Smikra Kodesh, the very existence of the Yom Tov is a dynamo. It's like quote unquote a kryptonite, that brings out this message that Mikra Kodesh. It's called a regel. Why it's called? What's it got to do with regel? Because Midas Ayira, which is Midas Malchus, is the lowest of all the midos. It's called regel. Shebchinas Yira. Tal de Yom Tov, Shuiz Galas Harotza Nasa Yira. So this is the way the situation is. That if a person is giving tzedakah, and according to how much a person gives tzedakah, this is how he's able to be Mekabel Yom Tov with greater simcha. And the bigger the simcha of Yom Tov, the bigger his galus harotzim, the more evident it is to a person. Look, these are all things which are happening in your own heart, in your own mind, what you realize and what you don't realize. One person can be two people doing the same thing. The same things that should not be done. Okay? One person, okay, so it's a big deal. Okay, so I did that. And it doesn't necessarily have to be two people. It could be one person different times. One person or one time person says, okay, I shouldn't have done it, but either that or he gives himself kind of terutzim, that's where I'm holding. Ever heard that? That's where I'm holding. Don't go overboard. What happened to you? You became a kanoi, whatever. You live in bed. What's the story with you? Like that? And another person does the same thing and is petrified. What did I do? What did I do? What's going to happen? After 120 years, a person leaves this world. When a person leaves this world, as we always say, there's literally hell to pay. Yeah, all right. Yeah. Just for Shabbos, and we'll all be here. So so what's the difference? These two people did the same whatever it is that they did. They filmed it down or thought things, they saw things they shouldn't see. Whatever it is they did, something they shouldn't have done. For one, doesn't make a difference. For the other one, he's petrified. What have I done? Then is somebody else who is even a higher madriga. His yira is already totally different. I mean, how could I do it to Kadosh Baruch Hu? Kadosh Baruch Hu was with me when I did that. How could I do this? When an El Chayid, a rabbi, important rabbi, comes around, and suddenly somebody is making a mayhem. The place is dirty, or whatever it is, it wasn't clean, or something. Somebody starts screaming, a child starts crying, whatever that happens. Usually, the kid is crying, so it's not so clean. It will clean, it was a big deal. The minute that there is the tzaddik or whatever it is, a choshev rabbi, master man, how could you do this? Such a busha. That's a rabbi. The guy told me, I said, Kodesh Baruch Hu himself. How could they do it? How could they do it? In other words, that is this year's Haroimimos. This is even beyond that level of year's Hainish. But nevertheless, this is down to the Yom Tov. So, what is the thing that decreases the exposure of the omnipresence and the omnipotency of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, omnipotence of HaKadosh Baruch Hu? What is the thing that makes a person sleep his reality? Okay, no big deal. There is, in principle, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, in principle, okay, 120 years, we'll worry about 120 years after 120 years. What is the thing that drops this opaque screen, that sort of like dims the recognition that Hashem is running the show? The Yom Tov is calling out like a siren, that's saying a missile is coming. But it's a siren that calls out, the world is running according to Ratzon HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And if you have any seichel, you should beware. But you don't always hear the calling out of the Ratzon of Yom Tov, Shmegalas Ratzon. The Zen Nikar, and this can be, you can tell this, how aware you are, how aware a person is. How real is his recognition that Hashem runs the show. The Nikar B'Simchas Yom Tov. It all depends how happy you are, how happy I am during Yom Tov. There are a lot of different things that when a Yom Tov comes, there's the Iker mitzvah of Yom Tovim is Simcha. Pesach comes, then you have to have this smile placid on your face from beginning to end. That's the mitzvah d'oraisa. Everything else, the sudas, whatever it is, everything else is the rabbanon. The d'oraisa v'samachta b'chagecha. That's beseder, matzah. You're right. But l'maisa, the main mitzvah of Yom Tov is simcha, samachta b'chagecha. Why? Because the main nature, quote unquote, of Yom Tov, the substance of Yom Tov, that it calls out the rulership of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the dominion of HaKadosh Baruch Hu over everything that happens. This world, the next world. Everything is up to him. There's no nature. There's no something that, that will keep going and keep on going, whatever it is, just because some kind of it's a law that's etched in stone. Baruch Hu wants it. So this can be told how much a person recognizes because Baruch Hu runs the show in Simchas Yom Tov. Each and every person, commensurate with how he feels and hears the voice of the calling out of Yom Tov, because Yom Tov is a siren. Everybody hears a siren. It hears all the time. That announces and calling out to Ratzon. Commensurately, this is how Simchas Yom Tov we have. Here Rabbeinu goes one step weiter. When the Ratzon is being reviewed, that everything is run according to Ratzon Hashem. As Yodim, now we know all the exiles, all this thing. He says that we have to suffer under the yoke of the goyim. That they're going to put them on top of us. They almost, and al kulam. Listen to this. Al kulam yinkom b'hem huizbarach v'galenu miyodam. Because Baruch is going to take revenge from all of them, and he's going to deliver us.
From who?
From the goyim. Everything they're going to do to us. Because Baruch is going to exact his revenge from them and will redeem us. You know all about redeeming, right?
But those going are already gone.
It doesn't matter. By our eyes, al pieteva, they're gone. As we say every single day. Chutz mevad neshama tehora shasida din v'cheshbon. Because Baruch will put Hitler right in front of us. Nebuchadnezzar right in front of us. They're not going anywhere. They think they committed suicide, so they made it scot-free. Because Baruch is going to have the karma for each and every one of us. Each one of them. But when we think that everything is run by nature, chas v'sholom, and shach nekama, what's a shach nekama? As you said, they're gone. In Arabic, they say ili fatmat, whatever was dead is dead, finished, no longer here. Who remembers the Ottoman Empire? Yeah, the Ottoman Empire, the Turkish Empire, the Ottoman Empire. You remember that? You don't remember that? The Turks.
Remember it.
The Turks remember. Yeah, they cannot forget it. They're still lamenting. Oh, wow.
Now they're trying to rebuild it.
They're trying to rebuild it. Okay. You know, who remembers, the Crimean War? You know, who remembers, Napoleonic Wars? Who remembers these things? It's gone. Since everything is run according to Seder HaTeva. What day is Yom Tov? Sunday, right? Monday. This particular Indian, we have to cover in Yitzhak Hashem next week. The reason why we have to push it off to next week, because the question is, what is Inyaf Nakama? What is this revenge that Kodesh Baruch Hu is going to exact on them? We would rather don't give us the tzaras, and don't exact revenge on them. What do we need this whole thing? Let us stay home, read a book. What do you need to go through the whole thing? Why is revenge such a big deal? This is a very, very deep Indian that Yitzhak Hashem would like to visit next week. And next week's installment before Yom Tov B'ezrat Hashem. You hear why this is such a principal Indian that the Kadosh Baruch Hu exacts revenge for all the things that he's done. What it has to do with what do we get out of it?
I thought you're not supposed to take revenge. No,
this is between a Yid and another. This is a different thing. This is Kadosh Baruch Hu takes revenge from the Goyim. But this is a totally different thing. No. This is, no. We're talking about the Kadosh Baruch Hu exacting revenge by the Goyim. What's this Indian? What do we get out of it? We learn our Baba Kama. Baba Kama says, there's a person that he has an ox that pushes another ox into a hole in the ground. Okay, so who is supposed to pay for the ox that was pushed down? So there's an argument between the owner of the ox that made the pushing and the owner of the hole in the ground. Who is supposed to be? So the argument between them is what he says. You're supposed to pay half. You're supposed to pay 3/4. You're supposed to pay a quarter. Why? He says. Otherwise, what good does this shutfus does to me? What do I get out of the fact that you're responsible for half of it? So without you, your ox pushing mine into the hole, the owner of the hole wouldn't have to pay anything. But without there being a hole, the ox can push the other one all day long. Nothing is happening. So shutfus imam haningly. Your shutfus, the fact that you are responsible for part of the nezek, what does it do to me? What do I get out of it? Same thing over there. What do we gain out of the fact that there is an in of Nekama? And it's tremendously deep. In Bezat Hashem, we will visit it next week. Bezat Hashem, and we'll understand. Soidus Atera, very mifloim me'oid. Bezat Hashem, we'll all have a good Shabbos. And we'll finish Bezat Hashem. You know, Sphere Sa'imer, get the Yontiv, Bezat Hashem. And Bezat Hashem, the main thing, the main union that we learn from this is Averis end in tears. Cautious. Averis end in tears. Don't do it. Remember, Biden says don't. Remember that? Says don't. Don't. Okay, so don't. Just don't. Because after Averis is before a person does an Averis, even during the time a person does an Averis, it seems like, okay, I'm just in a bubble and everything is fine. Nothing is going to happen. Nothing bad is going to happen. Everything is fine. And then afterwards, nothing but tears. Nothing but tears. That's all. Just do it. Just do it. Do it. It'll be so beautiful. It's really wonderful. You always want. I want the best for you. Yeah, really. Don't. Just don't. And I'm not talking about Oil Mababa, Oil Mazeh, just don't. Okay, so what happened if you did? What do you if you did? Obviously, you do tshuva, not to do it again, whatever it is. First of all, don't deny it. Stand before HaKadosh Baruch Hu and just admit it on the spot. I did this. I did this. And it's when you get to the point where you don't have anything to say for yourself. You have no excuses. That busha is ikar tshuva, Rabbeinu says in Torah Vav. Why did I do it? Because I'm stupid with a capital stu? I have nothing to say. You know, it's like the sea is in front and the Egyptians are in the back, you know, and the snakes on the water side and the scorpions on the other. There's nowhere to go between the rock and a hard place. There's nowhere to go. What did I do? One of the things that can be done is it's not stam. The Rebbe says in I remember the terms in the I think I forgot which story it is. There's sometimes is the Yetzer Hara, because Baruch Hu makes it so that the person falters. Person is running on like on a route on wheels like a train. That's the way I am. The things I keep, the things I don't keep, the things I pay attention to, I don't pay attention to. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu sends the person. The Rebbe says in Sefer Amidas, there is an inner. Sometimes they push somebody mishamayim. They push him off. Suddenly, the person wakes up. How did I get here? How did I get to do something like this? Should be something like this. How can I do this? So mishamayim, they pushed me in order for me to realize, okay, is there anything you can do to push off the possibility of this thing repeating itself? Try to do something different. Don't walk the same place. A person walks in, as the Gemara says, a person walked with the women are making washing the wash by the river. You know, they're lifting their arms, whatever it is. And the Gemara says, I feel loistakel. When a person didn't look, is a if there's another way to walk, not to go by them. Even if you didn't look, it's called a Rosh. You know, they're saying in all the the 12-step programs, they say people, places, and things. You know, if a person is an alcoholic, whatever it is, and a certain people, when he meets them, they drink. When he goes to certain places, you know, he drinks. At a certain time, whatever it is, people, places, and things, whatever it is, you know, if you buy a bottle of liquor, chances are you're going to take a shot, you know, at least one. You know, so it says, don't repeat, stay away from people, places, and things. Whatever it is, when a person falls into doing something he really should not be doing, if I fall into something that Chas v'Chalila I should not be doing, bevadai, people, places, and things. What can I do differently now? And start working on it, daven for it, work on it. It's not stam. It's not, oh, that's it, I'm dead. Enachinami. If you don't do anything about it, you keep on repeating Chas v'Chalila, Chas v'Chalila. But the main thing is open up your eyes. Mishamayim, they pushed you. Why did they push you? Because you have been lax about these things. Open up your eyes. What are you going to do different? First of all, admit it and daven to do things differently. Shem Yazov, B'ezrat Hashem. We'll do tshuva. We won't repeat our follies. And we'll take everything that happens to us, not only as I'm not good, but Kadosh Baruch Hu made me see that I'm in a bad place. Until now, I couldn't see it because everything went plus minus according to plan. It was okay. Suddenly, boom, I did something that I don't do. No, something Chas v'Chalila that should not be done. It's not my style. It's not my usual behavior. Suddenly, I do something. Mishamayim, because Baruch Hu says, check it out, man. Look at what you're doing. Change something. It's not a game. Shem Yazor, Bigut Shabbos, Kol Tuv, Atzlocho Rabo, Kol Tuv.